Boom, boom. As you can see, I dip 41 kilos for 4 reps and pull up 30 kilos for 4 reps. That's what you have to know about me. But 6 months ago, I was at 20 kg dips for 3 reps and at 10 kg pull-ups for 4 reps. I now get compliments on my strength and physique literally by strangers. I've been through the plateaus, the misunderstanding of having no idea what to do, and most importantly, the brainwashing by today's fitness influencers. Here are the 3 tactics I used so you can copy me and achieve even better results than I have. First off is not training like a bodybuilder. What I mean by this, you probably don't know the difference actually. The biggest difference being that a bodybuilder has a split based on the muscles they're targeting, and a powerlifter has a split based on the movements they're doing. So a bodybuilder will have like push-pull legs, upper-lower, Arnold split, and a powerlifter will have, let's say, squat, bench, deadlift, planche, front lever, in our case for calisthenics. You could also have like pull-ups and dips. All of these are different ways to target like calisthenics in ways that powerlifters use. Well, you might think you're gonna get bored with this training split because if I'm training dips, let's say 3 times a week, that's 3 times a week of the same day. Like, that's just gonna get boring, no? But listen, there's actually something different to this. What you do is have a primary, secondary, tertiary day, right? That's for your main movement, then your secondary movement, you'll just do it 2 times a week, then your tertiary movement 1 time a week. But how this works is essentially on your primary day of the movement, let's say for dips, you're gonna do the main movement for the main sets, those are your top sets, and then you'll do a back off, which are some easy sets afterwards, and then you'll do 2 to 3 support exercises. So a lot of volume and like a lot of focus on the first day. On the secondary day, it's like a medium amount of focus, a bit less exercises, a little bit less sets, and then for the third week, you might not even do the exercise itself. You might just be doing a exercise which kind of which uses the same muscles but is different. So that could be, for example, if you're training bench, a support exercise could be dips. So on your tertiary day, you would literally only do dips or whatever exercise that uses the same muscles. The other big part of training like a powerlifter is something called periodization. This is just splitting your routine into certain periods with certain focuses. That could be hypertrophy, strength, or central nervous system adaptation, how far your like neural system can fire. So you could have like your first week for hypertrophy, second week for strength, and third week for central nervous system adaptation. Afterwards, you have a deload week and then a 1 rep max week. So each of these weeks has a certain goal so your body can better adapt. An analogy I like to use for this is imagine a basketball player, right? He won't just play matches in all his trainings. He will like practice certain drills, he'll do like, I don't know, footwork, maybe he'll go to the gym, right? So it has certain focuses, and probably certain weeks have certain focuses, or like you have a week that's for like preparing for matches and stuff like that. And then your matches are kind of like your 1 rep maxes. That's in basketball. But let's say in training like calisthenics, what people have done because of the like influencers, everyone's like listening to Ian Barsegal and these influencers, so they have every week the exact same, and what happens with that is your body learns to adapt to it and just becomes lazy because it doesn't want to waste resources on random things. If you want to learn how to periodize your training easily and quickly, I have some YouTube videos on that, but most importantly, if you easily want to take your training to the next level and easily learn how to periodize your training and all these different deloads and these different tactics, I have a community down below where I have a free course, 2 free courses actually, where I explain periodization, deloading, programming, technique, and all these different things for free. The last part of training in a powerlifting style is the RPE. That stands for rate of perceived exertion. How hard you push the set. RPE 10 meaning you had no reps in reserve, and RPE 8 meaning you had 2 reps in reserve. You understand? But anyways, how we use RPE is we don't want to be pushing to failure on every single set like bodybuilders do. For example, you'll see Jeff Nippard, he pushes to failure on almost all his sets because that is optimal for muscle growth, but not for strength. For strength, you need to have certain periods. As I said, this comes from periodization, where you essentially have some easier weeks because you're not a like steroid abusing bodybuilder. So you have some easier weeks so your body can like get some like less fatigue, and then you have some harder weeks where your central nervous system and strength can get optimized. Number 2 are deloads. What deloads are just easy weeks where you catch up with your fatigue because your body accumulates fatigue in many different ways, in like your central nervous system, in your muscles, and also like your brain from just pushing hard. So you need to have these easy weeks where you focus on just recovering from that. And how you do this is either by like substantially decreasing the volume and the intensity. That's like the easiest way. Or you can also just keep the intensity like 70% of what it initially was, but have the volume super low, maybe like 1 to 2 sets, like 2-set method. You might have not even known about deloads, so they're really important, as I said. So make sure to take one, especially if your weights haven't been increasing in the past 2 weeks, or you've just found it really hard to increase your reps. You should definitely start programming these in, and you should do that by looking at what mistakes you've made. Or not mistakes, or maybe things you just haven't like thought of. Let's say you do a lot of like walking or sports outside of the gym, that could take a huge impact. Or maybe you're just like not training hard enough, so you don't need a deload. And the third step is having the mentality of an athlete. What I mean by this is that you basically take training seriously. And how you do this is by prioritizing it. Prioritizing just means putting it prior to other things. Habits are a big part of being an athlete. You don't see this in their training, right? Because habits are done usually outside of the gym. But habits, I mean like your sleep, your testosterone optimization, your diet habits, and all these different things. If you lock these in, you'll get some like more confidence and more self-respect to know that you actually push yourself to what you want to do, like keeping yourself accountable, maybe with a habit tracker. And this will give you like indirectly better gains in the gym, and a lot more than you expect, because you'll actually have the focus to work hard in the gym, and you won't have the stress of like maybe you slept 2 hours last night, for example. You also have to prioritize your training, putting it first before other things and not letting other things take its time. You should have your time to train, you should have your time to rest, you should have your time to do all the different exercises you want to do, time to do your cardio as well, so you can be a well-rounded athlete. Back when I had no idea what I was doing with my training, I was basically following the 2-set method and like just Jeff Nippard. And I thought that I was doing it right because like they were so jacked, but you know, now that I look back, I realized that that wasn't the right step to do, because like that's obviously bodybuilding, and we're doing calisthenics, which is a completely different thing, and we're training for strength and all these different things. And I didn't have anyone to break it down to me. So if only I had Weightisthenics, that is my community, and the link in the description, where I break down all these difficult concepts like periodization, deloads, and all these different things to like easy, well put courses. And I'll also take a call with you so you can actually 10x your progress. It's insane. I guarantee I can get you to a 150 kilo pull-up, dip, and squat total within 90 days. All my value and tons of my work there, so you can really get the best gains that you've been looking for. I hope you join, and I hope to see you there. See you, bro. Keep overloading.